Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here, boys. We are back on the Mac. We are in the Wichita, the newer version, as you can see on the board there. We're going against very good opponents, number one. But if you saw the mines, that was the CE. That is the original version. So anytime you see CE, it stands for Collector's Edition. Just think of Campaign Edition, which means the player got that ship at that time. I'm not sure why Wargaming did that. It's really confusing. We are going to go over the stats of the Wichita, but the Summers and Mines are two of the other ships that are in that configuration now. So basically, Wargaming is taking older ships that were potentially OP and giving them back to us in a format in which we could buy. But anyway, we're going to talk about the ship more so at the end. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about the play style of the ship and kind of just things to improve your game and watch me as I struggle against three super Uticums here. As we put on our carry pants, basically. But in the meantime, I'm utilizing this position here. I did not want to go to C right away. Now, our DD does a good job, and the reason for that is Nova is a great carrier player, Monkey is a great battleship player, and Red is just a great player overall. And if we went over there and got focused, we'd probably already be dead, as a few of our destroyers want to be, if you'll notice the scoreboard here. But our carrier is actually doing a good job. We maintain this position, and we hope that the Benson comes around, but he actually does the smart thing and dives into this island. But in the meantime, we mentioned those players, and there they are, so I'm going to start shooting them. We have the range here. We are running Azure Lane Baltimore. I wanted to get a good AP build or whatever, and you guys know I don't really like speccing that much into specific builds, and this is the reason. There's only one cruiser on the enemy team, and maybe one battleship that we might be able to Citadel if we're lucky. But really, the AP build was kind of wasted. Now, it doesn't take away from your HE, but like I said, I don't like speccing into that. But as we mentioned, that build will be at the end of the video as we lose our first destroyer there in less than a minute if you take away the time it takes to sail from your spawn to the gap. I'm not sure what a lot of our destroyer players were thinking. Our Terrible actually does a pretty decent job in this game. He got into the cap until it was overrun by 3 ships. So in the meantime, we know that the other division is over there, so we're going to back up here and try and support him. I play this game a little bit passive, guys, but with how bad some of your teammates are, you have to play it passive, as I ping our Brandenburg because I have no idea what he's doing. If he was closer to the cap where he spawned, where I was, then we could potentially be smacking this Bismarck for even more than we are. But we're trying to draw a fire and just reset him in the meantime. And we actually see that the Jervis pops up, and we lob a shot on him that the arcs of the American cruisers have some pretty good, they're lower velocity, so it's going to take longer to get to target. But as a result, you can lob slight islands like that. And in the meantime, this Jervis gets caught, and we're going to absolutely obliterate him. This is actually one of the better, I think, salvos of the game here, where we're connecting multiple shots. One of the things that was nerfed on this Wichita is the grouping. I'm not sure why Wargaming decides to do that. I absolutely detest when I shoot at something and the shells go everywhere. That happened last night on stream with my Stalingrad, which has some of the best Sigma, which means grouping in the game. And you can see me kind of angrily ping here because I'm not sure if it was who, but it was our team has been pinging multiple ships each game. And if you're pinging at something and you're not shooting at it, stop pinging it, okay? Because we're doing our absolute best to shoot anything and everything here. Now, like I said, we are playing this a little bit passive, and I kind of noticed that, and I'm like, all right, we need to move up. But as you can see, 3 DDs dead in 3 minutes, essentially, if you count, the 60 seconds it takes to move from spawn to a position you can get shot in. So this game I already know is going to be rough. Like we said, Nova, Red, and Monkey are all super Unicum players, so the game had a bleak outlook from the onset. But I told myself I'm not gonna get frustrated. I'm just gonna try. We got a fire on that Bismarck there, and we're gonna try and get a permanent fire as we lob from range here. And you can really see that shell arc as it's taking a long time to get to target. Now, I wanted to help this Terrible with this Benson, but the carrier already did an excellent job of shooting him and torping him, and I think I look back at the Terrible's health, and he has full health. So he actually does get in the cap, get the kill on the Benson there, so good job to him. And so we're going to work our way around. I know that the Moss will be on radar range, and we actually get completely just the worst luck as we get a permanent fire on the Bismarck there. Now, pay attention to that Kagero. You saw how much health he did not have. That is just going to be a pain at the end of this match. And just look at this right here. So leading shot away from us, you can see me just say Roger, 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 and we get 110 for, I don't even know the damage because that guy had 200 health. So to not kill him there was frustrating, but it actually works out in the end. And you'll see again, we aim high because shells notoriously land short, and I think the shells landed on the right side of the target here. I think there's a problem with the auto aim or the target lock more so. The auto aim is fine; it's been the same. It has since the last 2 years. But the target lock, I think, for some reason, throws your shells short. I don't know why. I need more data, but training rooms would really help with that. But in the meantime, we are kind of between a rock and a hard place here. We have a John Bart with Monkey on our left, a DD in front of us, a Bismarck out on our flank. Now, we had been giving broadside to that Bismarck, but honestly, I'm more scared of Red October in a Mines than I am of a Bismarck. And that's not Red, like we said, Red is a great player, but that's just how bad the Bismarck is to me. Also, the Wichita is notorious for getting overpenned. The Citadel sits in the back of the ship, and I actually do not go over the armor viewer as the Moss pops up here, and I think our Laterable gets the kill. So good for him. Quick target positioning. But as you can see, I start to go forward here. I know Monkey is behind me, that John Bart, so I'm not gonna go into that. And I'm also gonna try and support this Brandenburg, who has sat at that rock and then decided to YOLO into B. If you notice on the mini map, there's a battleship in A. So for him to be in that position, even though I don't think the Iowa was the most situationally aware player, we'll say, for that Brandenburg to be in the position is just a missed position, and you can kind of tell at the end here. But it caused Red to turn broadside to show his torps, and this is a little bit of that grouping right there, and to not get a Citadel. I know it's a roll of the dice, and everyone's like, "Well, it's RNG" and things like that. But when you catch excellent players like that out of position, or not out of position, but because of the flow of the match, he was broadside. When you catch a player as good as Red and their division is, you have to make them pay, and that is something I absolutely detest. But we are down 3 ships to 6 here, and we ended up killing 2 of them, essentially. The Moss was so low health. But now I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to try and kill Red and do my best here to not, to at least get a high caliber, a participation trophy. But Nova is dropping us on the carrier, and we actually had a previous dodge, and we actually dodged these torps as well. The slow torps of the Saipan do kind of help dodging there, but the AA on the Wichita in this new version, as you can tell, I did not get a clear sky in this game, and even at the end, we're parked right next to the carrier, and we still do not get that medal. So the AA is lackluster. I'm not sure the stats, and I actually don't think I cover that at the end here, but you're not going to be shooting down multiple planes unless you somehow manage to get into a tier 5 game. But we actually get help from the carrier here and disable Red's torps, which is what I was aiming for. And we see that Monkey's coming around, so we're going to go forward. We knock Red out there, and that's kind of like a slight ego boost, to get a player like that. But he was kind of forced into that position, so the Wichita's probably going to win that engagement unless he can get his torps off. But as we mentioned, you can aim for the torpedoes with HE, and we actually disabled them twice. Plus the carrier drop, he was not able to get his torp drop off. But what we're going to do is now we're going to get skinny with this island. We see Monkey coming around, and this Flander, who actually sent me a GG afterward on our team, does an excellent job of staying alive as long as he can in the middle of this absolute throw by our team as the carrier comes in clutch with the kill there. Now, I'm not sure what this Iowa was looking at. Maybe the carrier. I'm not sure. And I got to give credit to the carrier as well, because he had an excellent game as well, hitting appropriate targets, spotting DDs, things like that. Now the Iowa does shoot at us here, but we dodge it without any damage. So we've managed to mitigate a lot of damage and try to be as influential to our team's throw as we can. So we've knocked out 2 players. The carrier got Monkey there, so that's 2 of the 3 TT guys down. And we actually get, I think, a double fire, if not a triple fire, on this Iowa here as our carrier comes in and drops. Now, I'm not sure when the damage con goes off, but sometime between now and then you can see our fire stop ticking. So we want to, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm like, let's win this thing. I'm trying my butt off here. Dodging torpedoes, and ships that can overmatch us. As we know, the Wichita has a 27 millimeter bow, so we would be able to bow tank that Bismarck and the JB, but we are not able to bow tank that Iowa. So I'm trying to remain undetected, and you'll notice the Bismarck was last spotted going around that island at B, so we know he's in front of us. So we're going to try and get this guy on a fire, and in the meantime, angle towards the Bismarck while staying close to this island, which will prevent quick drops from Nova. If he wants to take the long route or get bombers as he does here, then he can do that. But by staying close to that island, that's what we do. In the meantime, we get the high caliber and we get a permanent fire on that Iowa. So the next target is the Bismarck. Now here is something that I get a little bit frustrated with. We switched to AP, and I'm not sure if it's aim, if it's whatever, as our carrier goes down. So the Iowa's dying breath was actually a good shot. But we have a broadside Bismarck, and I can tell you for a fact, if I was in my Baltimore, this Bismarck would be dead right about maybe on this salvo. But we get in 2 overpins, a shatter, and just kind of obnoxious RNG, which is that grouping. Like I said, if I was my Baltimore, that would have been a 5K salvo. So we switched to HE as we see the carrier get a fire with his final strike. I wish the carrier would have dropped the destroyer. The destroyer actually gets detected, and the Kagero has no less than 100 health. I shit you not. And like we said, we're getting penetrations here, but we're only hitting 50% of our shells at 8 kilometers. That is where that grouping comes in, and there is a better salvo, but no fire, no luck with RNG in this, and it actually comes back to haunt us because this Bismarck does end up killing does take a lot of health. I don't think he kills the Flander, but he takes a lot of health from him, and I think Nova comes and finishes him off. GG to that Flander. He played rather well, but as you can see, I'm switching back to AP here at 6 kilometers, and that's a decent salvo, but like I said, my Baltimore, that would have been 8-10K. So the AP on this thing is just lackluster at best as we finally get the kill. No, he does kill him. So if we would have got that Bismarck sooner, we may have gotten the victory here, as I see Nova is smartly working his carrier into C to prevent our cap influx. If we were able to cap B and Nova did not get into C, with the time remaining, we may have been able to tick those points. You also notice I have 1 radar left, as I know that Nova is going to come and trying to reset me. So we're going to utilize this island and try and kind of, like we said, get close to it, especially for the torp planes. If he wants to torp me here, he will have to go all the way around, at which point I will already have the cap. So in my head, I'm thinking if I can kill Nova and prevent him from getting C, then maybe. But unfortunately, he started his carrier movement a lot sooner. He's a great player. He reads the board. He saw that I was dominating their team, and they needed some cap points to assure the victory. Now, it ends up that they don't really need these points, and the Kagero survives, but I'm trying to play a little game with him here to get him to commit one way or another and kind of dodge. Like we said, we are running Azure Lane Baltimore, so we do have 1 rudder modification, but you don't need it. If you know how to position and dodge in the slightest, you don't need it. As you can see, we're half speed here, and we end up dodging these torps. Now, they are slower American torps, but we pop our radar here to try and get a shot on Nova, and in my head, I know it's too late. We actually spot the Kagero there, as I notice in the end, trying to dodge this last torp, but I told myself, we just need to get there. I don't have time to dodge anymore. But as you can see, the game is kind of over. Our team absolutely threw. Our 3 destroyers just died in seconds. If I would have saw this destroyer earlier, but the Kagero was 1 secondary hit away, which as we mentioned earlier in the game, is just kind of depressing, as I saw a lot of pings from our team to destroyers, but not a lot of shots from them. So, and again, we did not experience the game from their perspective, but, dying in the first 2 minutes is, that's never the correct play. But we're on damage con here, so we kind of have to dodge these torps. And like I said, in my mind, I knew the game was over. They have 2 caps now to our 1. Even if we kind of contest these cap points and kill the carrier, it's only going to be 100 or 110 point swing. So if we had more time, I know I could have won this, but only 15 minutes, and 1 versus 17 is the common phrase. But we get a little bit of extra XP here, I guess, from flooding. But we round this corner, and I actually end up beaching on a rock. But that's the game, guys. Red, Nova, and Monkey are all great players, so GG's to those gentlemen as I try to get a cheeky blind fire here on the Kagero, maybe. Yeah, Nova's trying his best. But if I had 30, 90 more seconds, he would have been absolutely yeeted. So my final impressions of this new Wichita, I'm not impressed really. This game was all HE and me getting fire damage. The AP is insanely lackluster, as you can see. 2280 on a loss, which would have been 36, 3700, 3800 on a win. Yeah, as you kind of see me talk to our team here and ask what the heck happened. Jervis with 200 XP. Not sure what happened there, but their enemy Jervis had it as well. It's a roll of the dice, more so on your teammates than the salvos you get. But a few situations that we could have maybe done a little bit different. There's the commander we're running, Azure Lane Baltimore with Beyond Range, Igniter, AP Absolute, and fully packed there with Mimbelli and Yamamoto. So like we said, a more so AP spec build. But if you notice, the AP wasn't doing what we want it to. So I personally will never play this ship again. If you want to buy it, just realize that it's going to be completely different than the Wichita. And we actually have those stats here. But I want to show you guys in this video. I'm not at the controller right now. It's like so on the computer. The ship in the store, as well as kind of look at it compared to the other thing. I wanted to make sure everyone got a good view of the commander here. But yeah, there is the original Wichita. You can see next to it the CE, which we run Einstein, which I think is honestly a better build. Also, you can tell kind of by the paint job, but here she is in the store. I think I misplayed. Yeah, I'm like, where do I have to go? And then I realized we have to go to ships. But yeah, that was a frustrating game, but a good game nonetheless, and it shows the prowess that you can even do against 3 Super Unicums as a solo player if you play the correct way. If we had a few more teammates, we might have actually won that game. So there she is, 17,500. Don't buy the extra bundle unless you won the Powerball. But that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and show you these differences now on the website, as we mentioned in our patch notes video. The HE shell damage decreased from 2,800 to 2,600. AP shell damage increased from 4,000 to 4,200. AP guaranteed ricochet angle decreased. AP fuse time increased, so it should honestly lead to more citadels, especially with AP absolute, but it didn't. And an AP penetration increase from 11%, none of which I saw at all. But we did notice the main battery shell grouping decreased. So basically a more AP focused Wichita, but it does not have the super heavy AP that the Baltimore has. So personally, I would never touch the ship with a 10-foot pole, but that's just my opinion, guys. That is the ship. It is available in the store if you would like it. And yeah, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe if you are not already. Aaron out. Peace.